This is way less expensive than taking it to a body shop, and you might have the stuff you need for this laying around the house, so this might be a free modification for you. So you've got a car that's got some minor hood damage, but you don't want to take it to the shop and pay to have that little tiny crease there fixed because it's your beater car. You don't really want to put a whole lot of money into it. What are your options then? Right here I've got a 2005 Mercury Montego, and as you can see, the hood here is fine, but on the other side it's got a big gap in it. Once you get up to highway speed, the hood kind of flops around in the breeze. Having your hood flop around at 70 miles per hour is a little unsettling, and at this point we've already tried the hood adjustment on that side, bringing it all the way up to try to hold it in place, and it still flops around. Well, I've got a solution for you, and I'm going to show you that today. Let's pop the hood and get to it. Here's the hood adjustment for the passenger side. This is the side that's raised up and flopping more. I've already raised this up, as you can see by the mark here. Raising it up hasn't done the trick. So I'm going to lower this back down, and I'll show you what the other one looks like. Here's the other one, way lower than the other side. Overall, the hood has some warpage to it. Up here is the only high spot. The other three corners are fine. So we're going to trade off some of the height on that corner for the height on that corner. It'll raise this portion up, and it'll lower that portion by pivoting on the other two corners. It's not the ideal solution, but it's way less expensive than taking it to the body shop. This is the corner that needs to be raised up. We're gonna loosen these bolts, but make sure you do not take these out all the way. Careful not to hit your fender and damage the paint. All right, now that these are loosened up, we're gonna take one of them out, just one. All right, now that we have the bolt out, we can find a washer that fits this. We'll need one for each bolt, maybe two if it's really bad. All right, these are flat washers. They're not lock washers. They're not made out of anything special. These are pretty thin, so I think I'm gonna do three. I'm gonna slide these in. Oh, I missed one. There we go. If there's that washer I dropped, I can just get it out easily by lifting up on the hood. Now you'll start tightening this bolt, but don't put it back in all the way. You'll need some room to get the other washers in. All right, and do whatever makes this easy for you. You might want to lower the hood and put it on a wooden block or something. It might be easier for you to slide it in if it's level. See, I'm able to pull this hood way out so I can get plenty of room to rest the washers on the top of the bolt. This would be way easier with two people, but it can be done with just one person. All right, we got three washers in both of them. The amount of washers you're going to use are going to depend on how thick they are and how bad the damage is. You may have to do this a few times to get it right. Now you can see the washers in there, and there's a kind of a gap in there too. This looks better, but I bet we could do even better tomorrow. All right, so we haven't raised it up quite enough yet. I'm gonna take these back out and put in some more washers. If you're putting in a lot of spacers there, you may need to get another bolt that's a little longer, or if it looks like this, you may just need to have more threads on the end. So I threaded this in a few turns, and that's about as much gap as I'm willing to do with these bolts. So if I'm doing any more gap than this, I'm gonna put some new bolts in here. Remember, these bolts hold your hood on, so if these things work themselves out, you're gonna have a real problem. So I decided just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna put in some new bolts. These new bolts are actually shorter than the ones that came out. This one just has a giant pilot tip to it, so the thread portion is shorter on this one. I'm gonna assemble these washers in kind of a sandwich, so the thick ones are on the outside, thin ones are in the middle. Hold that in place with the magnet. It's really tricky sometimes to get that many washers in there if you're working in that tight space, but make sure you leave yourself enough room, and making sure you have a plan for when the washers fall is a good idea as well. This little neodymium magnet came in handy too. I was able to hold some stuff in place while I went and got other tools. Now I'm going to tighten these up and take another look. When you go to lower the hood, make sure all your tools are removed. Before you slam it down, just take a look to make sure there aren't any obvious issues, because you don't want to bend the hood again. You'll probably have to adjust these again too. Awesome. Had to make one final adjustment. It's still not perfect because the damage is right here. It's kind of bent up this way. But that gap is a lot smaller. I can't stick my fingers in all the way anymore. You can definitely see this is raised up a little bit, but it's not bad. Let's head out on the highway and give it a try. So that hood modification worked out real well. The shaking's gone, the gap is better. This gap here that's new isn't so bad. And you saved a whole lot of money doing it this way rather than having the hood completely fixed. If you have a car you really like, just get the hood fixed. But if you have a beater car and you just want it to work better, this is probably the way to go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next Car Simplified video.